I have to confess, it's probably my fault for making the assumption that the vast majority of the people in my audience would understand just how weak and fragile the human mind is. My job in the military was human intelligence, specializing in interrogation. And what they taught us and what they showed us proved just how easy it is. Once you get people in a certain emotional state, you can make them believe anything you want to. Now, most people not having had this experience probably believe that whatever they believe, they've always believed, or everybody has always believed. And that is just not the case. And it's a topic that I've been bringing up for the last few months, but I have more proof to back it up. We just put up a video a couple days ago over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where I talk about interrogation in the context of efficiency, efficacy, or effectiveness. Meaning basically in military interrogation, time is virtually always a factor. If you don't break your target in 3 to 4 days, the information he has is useless. Now, it's a very different thing in, say, police interrogation, where you're trying to get somebody to commit, or admit, I guess, to committing a crime, where you might have weeks to do it, and it wouldn't matter. You see, time is always one of those things that has a way of messing with what the truth is. See, efficiency would mean you got it done quick. Efficacy would mean that you got it done well. And effectiveness is that technique applied in the real world. Now, real quick, before we get farther into this and I show you my brand new proof for something that we've been talking about that's tweaked a lot of people, I want to say thank you to all of those of you who have continued to support us over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. A lot of you have just stood by. We've not put up as many videos as we used to, but the ones we're putting up, I think, are really hitting home. If you'd like to join us over there, all of the links are down in the description box. Whatever level God puts on your heart, God bless all of you who do. Thank you so much. And here's the best part, as always. For the first 90 days, you can go over there, have full access to whatever level you sign up for, kick the tires, watch the videos, and if after 90 days, within the first 90 days, you decide it's not for me, you can say Florida Maquis, you can shoot me a message. You know, times are tough, the money's tight, and I just not think it's for me, and I will refund all of the money that you've pledged inside of the first 90 days. Being the middle of April, see May, June, well, it'd be after July 4th. So, pardon me. Allergy season here in Florida. Let's get right to it. Also, real quick, a shout out to Lynn Liaz, Lyn space Leahz, Lynn Liaz. Her videos lately have been just unbelievably great. Better than she's ever put out. And there was a time 8-10 years ago she was putting out videos that are getting millions of views. And of course, you know, censors don't like Christians, and YouTube, they discriminate against us greatly. But she's been putting out some amazing stuff. Her most recent one's only a 3-minute video, but it's amazing scriptural-based content that is definitely worth a look. So, Lynn Liaz, let's get right to it. Let's talk about what we're talking about. Interrogation. Getting information for somebody or making somebody believe something that isn't true. There's a topic out there now that bothers a lot of people. What if I could tell you there was 100 different ways to punch somebody's buttons? And if you have them for a long enough period of time, you can literally make them believe up is down, left is right, the sky is green, grass is blue. A lot of people think, well, gosh, I've always believed this. Everybody's always believed this particular fact or thing. It's always been the case. The one that we've been talking about that has bothered the most people, this idea of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 being children. It is a modern invention of the millennials. The millennial era has brainwashed people by calling them 15-year-old boys, 16-year-old girls. See that little subtle change in language? And I've tried to convince people that in my era, Gen X, back in the 1980s when I was in high school and in the 70s, individuals that were this age were not referred to as boys and girls. They were referred to as young men and young women, and they were expected to behave like young men and young women. If a girl who was 16 decided to have a roll in the hay with a 16-year-old young man, or a 26-year-old man or a 36-year-old man. None of it was seen as pedo. And I have proof that cannot be shot down now to show you something. But a few more examples. This is Claudia Christian. She's an actress. Some of you might remember her. She was mostly well known for her role as Commander Susan Ivanova on a very cult favorite sci-fi show called Babylon 5. She was also a singer for a very short time. This particular picture of her that you're looking at right here is her at 15 years old, getting ready to go to prom. 15 years old, getting ready to go to prom. Now, I defy anyone with logic and a brain and 2 functioning eyeballs to tell me that you're looking at a child. You want to see a better example? How many of you remember the singer Richie Valens sang oh Donna, that song? And then he died in a very tragic plane crash. A lot of people don't realize that in the plane crash, he was 17 years old. This picture, what you're looking at is a 16-year-old. Are you going to tell me right now that you're going to look at this person and to their face call them a child? Say, you're a child. Richie Valens, you're a 17-year-old child. You're a 16-year-old child. Really? It's bonkers. It's ludicrous. And I don't normally do this. This is me. This is me when I was 16 going on 17. 1986-ish, 87-ish, something like that. This guy right here could easily bench press 260 pounds. Leg press, 600 at least. Squat, probably in the 400s. There was no way anybody would have looked at me or any of my teammates. The numbers I just described to you were not uncommon. I was not the strongest guy on my football team. By far. There were guys a lot stronger, guys a lot faster. But modern millennials would have you believe that I was a child. But here's the whopper. Here's the whopper that's going to make you sit down and just scratch your head. The Renaissance era. The Renaissance era from the time about 1400 to about 1800. Those years. There was no such thing as a teenager. Let me read. And this is AI saying this, not me. Teenagers during the Renaissance, the 14th to 16th and into the 17th century, were treated as young adults, often entering apprenticeships, working in agriculture, or marrying between their mid-teens. Pay attention, people. Marrying between their mid-teens and early 20s. While lower-class youth faced intense labor, wealthy teens might pursue education in humanism or arts. Marriage was often a financial alliance, and strict social rules dominated. Adolescence/work. How many have heard me talk about this word that modern autists can't even comprehend, the word adolescence? It tweaks them like the word moist does for some reason. I have no idea why. But let's get to the real point. The concept of a teenager did not exist. Quote unquote, and you see here, even AI screws up. These people were considered adults by age 12 to 14. They were not considered children once puberty hit. Most teens worked in fields or were sent away for apprenticeship in cities. And of course, wealth and social strata always played in this, but it didn't change from whether you were rich at 12 to 14 or whether you were poor at 12 to 14. The only thing that changes is how you handled it and what you did. Here's a video from Grunge. Grunge is a huge channel on YouTube. 2.52 million subscribers. And explains the exact same thing. That historically, that was not considered childhood. What you would have to believe the modern millennial version of you're not an adult until you're 18, is you would have to believe for 500 to 600 years, every single living person in Europe were all pedos. Every one of them that was born from 1300 AD all the way to 1800 AD, every single man and woman alive in Europe during that time, every single one of them, they were all pedophiles. That's what modern millennials would have you believe. If you don't think psychology and access and brain twists and this time and psyops work, believe me, there's an entire generation that has a completely backward, upside down, myopic view that disagrees with their own eyeballs that they still believe. This is not a girl. This is not a child. This is a young woman. That I literally have to say this out loud. This is a young man. This is a man. Period. This is an M-A-N man. He happens to be 16 in this picture, 17 when he died. He's a man. For all intents and purposes, in this picture, I was a young man. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to show it again. Both people pictured here are 15 years old, and they are both young men and young women. They're not children. And the reason I talk about this is because we talk about psyops, and we talk about how the human mind works, and that we have millions of people in this country whose brains are so rotted from psyops that they now believe full-grown adults are children. I think that's why they've had no problem teaching actual children that it's okay for them to just identify as whatever gender they are or they want to be that day. That's how screwed up these people are in the head. They're the same people that'll look at a full-grown man and somebody say, well, his birth certificate says blah, 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 and say, well, that makes him a child. That government-issued birth certificates now dictate what a child is or isn't is just, to my mind, it is the biggest affront to God's law that I've ever seen in my life. If I would have told my parents or grandparents that this would happen, they would have said, oh, no, Jesus would have come back by then before it got that crazy. They would have been tossed in the lake of fire before it got that bad. Still getting worse. So I will leave it there. Pushing buttons. Making people think. They don't like it. They don't like it because they ask themselves continually, well, gosh, how do I feel about this? What do I feel about that? They don't ask themselves, what do I think about it anymore, do they? Because they're not thinking, they're feeling. And I'll leave it there. God bless. Thank you for joining us on Patreon. I very much appreciate it. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.